All right, we should be live.
All right. Hey, and welcome to the SideQuest. And how are you? How are you, everybody? This is the SideQuest, your weekly podcast talking about all kinds of games and gaming culture and all that stuff associated with it. I am Dolly Domofsky in a basement, quite literally in a basement right now.
What the fuck is wrong
Joined
with my
by,
webcam? Do you see this shit?
I see you.
I'm
You look
so
fine.
blurry.
You look like you're.
What did you do to me? You got good internet and now I'm all fucked up.
No, you look fine. You look fine on my end.
Weird.
Yeah, maybe it's just the Canada Air.
Maybe it's my monitor. Maybe half my monitor is dying.
Maybe half your monitor is dying. That could be it too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tweet out the link. Tweet out that link if I can find it.
Speaking
So
of
bear with
tweeting,
me.
I tweeted.
That's Aaron Kelly, by the way.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Twitch affiliate.
Twitch affiliate.
I'm still not letting that go. I still find that so funny.
I
I
fucking love that.
tweeted. Speaking of tweeting, I tweeted Tom at Tom, and he just tweeted back. I forgot. So he might show up.
Hopefully.
I can't check if he's online because the way we do this, I no longer have a Discord window until we're done the show. Hey, what's up? How you doing? That looks
Good.
like it. That looks
Pretty
like it.
good.
That looks like a corner couch.
It is. It is a. No, it's not a corner couch.
Oh.
I'm in the corner. Oh shit! Look out! I'm in the basement this time for sure. I was joking about being in the basement, and last time I was in kind of a lower level area in my parents' house. Now I'm in my mother-in-law's basement right now. She has me locked up. Help, send help. But yeah, I'm down here where this is where I'll be camping out for the next week until our new home is ready next Friday.
Finally, no longer at the other family's place.
Yeah, my parents' house. I'll be stopping in there. They're literally like right down the street from each other, down the road from each other. And our house is like right near my parents' house. But
Are you like one of those? Are you like our family? You all end up congregating sort of in the same general area. Yeah, my family does that too. Like I live up until like 2 months ago. I lived like a 5-minute drive away from my mom.
Oh, that's nice.
And my aunt lives like a 10-minute walk away, and my family historically has owned like a bunch of properties in the village because we all live here and shit like that. Like we're the same way. Like we just all kind of live together.
It's kind of nice to be near people. I know some folks love to just get away, but I think it's cool to be near people, especially if you have kids. It's great because you have someone who can watch them. But then if there's ever an emergency or you need somebody to run to the house for something, then that's always there's always somebody there and available. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I hate it.
But yeah, you hate it.
Well, I'm on the other end where I don't have kids and I don't really like people, so the proximity makes me the person that gets called when somebody needs something. I'm on the other end of it. I'm like, hey, we got to do a thing. I don't really want to. But what are you doing anyway? I guess so.
What are you anyway? Come on over, help us out. Okay. Well, we are just entering the thick of the gaming season where there's gonna be shit happening every week. Games dropping nonstop. We got new consoles coming out, one of which I have, which I will show on the stream right here on Eyebrows. There's AAA titles dropping left and right. I think Borderlands was last week, right before the show started. Borderlands was released, and then this week you have I think Zelda is tomorrow. The Switch Lite is tomorrow. Daemon X Machina was last week. You have like the FIFAs are running around all over the place. So yeah, it's this is it, dude. We're in it. We're in it. We hope you all have free time to listen to us, or to just be cool.
We know you do. We know we're more important than any video game.
Yeah.
He says,
way more important.
Trying very hard not to launch something from Steam as we do the show.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Actually, I'm tweeting.
I can't because it'll broadcast the sound. I don't have my channel set up. So.
I'm actually using these guys, the earbuds, because that's the only shit that I have right now. Because I don't have my. I still gotta order a desk. There's so much crap to do. I'm gonna be working off a folding table. I mean, how's your desk situation going over there? Still,
it's 2 folding tables with a piece of desk on top of them.
That's nice. So yeah, I'll be something similar.
Although I did just move some shit around, so I might have a better light source coming from this side at some point. instead of face on. So I might have a little bit less chin sheen going forward. Look at this. Look at how shiny my chin is.
You are. Your chin is shiny and your cheek is shiny. Yeah, look at that.
What if I do this? Like yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's literally that light. All right, that's good to know. I can do something.
I'm in a decent area here actually because the light is like forward of me, so it's cascading down, and it's because I'm in a basement. It's that kind of fluorescent covered long light thing. So
I want that couch.
It's really comfortable.
Yeah, I bet it is. I'm looking at it.
It's in the basement. They don't, she doesn't use it for anything. So, but I'm looking around in here and I have 2 TVs down here. At my parents' house, I had 2 TVs. I have amassed televisions. It's like every time I went to Best Buy, there would be a TV for like $60 or $70, and I would keep forgetting that I had a TV. And I'd be like, oh shit, a TV. Let me buy it. And I'd end up with TVs. So I have a bunch of these.
I've been looking at desks because I have until this desk broke. This is a very long desk, and I could fit all 3 of my monitors like side by side on it. Like it's that long. And now that it's broke, I'm looking at desks, and I'm looking over here in this corner that I got like this little alcove that juts like into the wall. I'm like, if I could get a desk that fits in there, like I could stack my monitors vertically maybe, and then my soundproofing could go on the sides and in the back and be a little more useful than having all around the room. And then the green screen could go right here, and all of a sudden I've got a little alcove, and and then maybe I got room for a couch.
Oh, nice.
Because I want a couch. Because I think I told this before. I don't sleep well on a bed.
I'm the same way, dude. I sleep best on a couch.
Yeah.
That's why you're eyeing this couch behind me, aren't you?
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, we're gonna have a real nice sleepy time couch at my new house. So I'll be if you're ever in Detroit for some reason.
Well, I'm there. Well, I shouldn't say so too much, but there are reasons why I might be in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vape nation of the world.
RoboCop.
Sam, can you hear us?
I bet he can't.
No. Okay. Hello?
Hey!
How's it going?
I can hear you, but Dally still sounds like a robot.
Does he really? He sounds good to me.
Oh, yeah, it's Robot City over here, but that's probably just my shitty internet.
I lied. Are you fucking with us this again, Ellie? Are you doing it again, or?
Yeah, I wasn't talking before.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you sound fine to me. Your audio and your video is a little messed up, like out of sync, but like you sound fine. And that's the most important part.
My next house, trust me when I tell you guys, my next house will have the magic. I am, again, literally in the basement. Sam, how you doing, dude?
Good. Running late, as per usual. It's a busy time of year.
Sports that you're playing?
Pretty much the same stuff as last week. But I will throw in there, now that I have started playing the Borderlands 3.
How's it run?
Sure. I have not been having performance issues that everybody else seems to be having. I'm playing on a base PS4.
The game or with other things?
Oh, I mean, are you referencing?
Right, continue talking about the game.
I don't know. I can't tell if you're being sincere or not because I can never tell if Johnny 5 from Short Circuit is being sincere. But yeah, so the game actually has been running okay for me. I mean, the loading into the menus goes a little slow, but they've always gone slow in Borderlands games, so like that's the level of jank that I'm kind of used to when it comes to that. But otherwise, I think the game is an improvement off of its looting shooting that it's had in the past. I think shooting actually feels fun to do now.
Sam, please. Schlooting.
Sure.
Schlooting.
It feels more fluid. Like it actually feels like somebody sat down and really was like, all right, this just felt like Lego pieces moving around and aiming before. Let's kind of smooth that out. It feels actually, the handling of guns feel a lot like Destiny, which is sort of an interesting take since Destiny is basically Borderlands, but Borderlands is now borrowing Destiny's like feel. I don't know. It's very strange. But overall I've been enjoying it. I haven't played too much of it. My brother and I have been playing it, and he is on California time and I am on East Coast time. So we've been kind of running into time discrepancies of when we can actually play it. Um, but I've been enjoying that, and I don't know if you guys have seen or played any of that, but yeah, it's basically like a bunch of 12-year-olds went into a toilet and decided to write the script for this game. A lot of dicks and balls jokes, a lot of angsty dumb shit, a lot of jokes about YouTube and stuff like that. It's weird.
Really? YouTube jokes in a series that doesn't take place on Earth?
Well, not exactly like it. It doesn't like specifically call out YouTube, but like pretty early on, like it basically sets up the bads of this game as being like streamers. Like they have like special like tiers of streaming support you can offer them. Well, they call them live screams instead of live streams. Um, and like I think the phrase that's been going around is the like remember to like subscribe and obey. Is like the big joke that like everybody's like, yeah, we get it. Like you guys are making fun of streamers and that whole internet culture. Like you guys are about 5 years too late with this take, but
I mean, from what I hear, they're about 5 years too late with a lot of stuff in that game.
yeah, it's just it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the occasional like dumb dick joke or dumb like phrasing of a thing like is still funny. You know, it's funny in the same way that like you when you're sitting around with your buddies and you talk about all the dumb shit you used to do in high school is funny. But then you're like, yeah, that stuff's stupid now. It's kind of the same as that. And like it's not here to tell an important story. Claptrap's voice being a different voice actor is like just close enough that it bothers me every time I hear him talk. Like I would just have preferred them to go a completely different direction with his voice than try to mimic the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't understand. Like, you could have put a one-off line in there about how he took a shot to the face or something like that, and they had to put a new voice box in him. He's a robot, right?
yeah. There's plenty of stuff you could have done, and they just chose to ignore all of that and just make him the exact same character. I don't know. I mean, I think it's still worth playing if you have like a group of people, but I would never say this is the type of game where you want to make sure to get all the side quests done because you need to hear the story or anything like that. But I mean, it's still enjoyable if you have a group of people. I don't recommend playing it by yourself. I don't know. It's the perfect like version of a Destiny game where there's not going to be an infinite amount of shit to do in the long term. To want you to keep playing, you don't have to pay attention to the story. You don't have to pay attention to the story in Destiny either, really. But um, at least it tries to say something and has a story in it. Where this one is like, I don't know, a lot of it's super forgettable so far. The whole juxtaposition of oh, you can go to there's so many planets to find vaults on now. It's like, well, yeah, but the first three planets might as well have just been three different zones named different things. And it's just an excuse to make different architecture and stuff and have the game not all look like a brown wasteland, which the previous two did a lot.
What's in the vaults?
I don't know, power. I've not yet been to a vault in this game, but every Borderlands game ends like right as you open a vault, and it usually gives whatever the big monster the power to do whatever, and then you fight him and it's over. Yeah, I can't tell you the ending of the pre-sequel because that game was garbage. I did not finish it.
Yeah, I think I played and maybe reviewed Borderlands 1, like, and then I couldn't play 2, and I haven't played any of the other ones. So I don't remember anything about Borderlands 1. I don't remember I don't remember what the big gimmick was. Like, so I remember
Yeah,
I remember shooting things. I remember there was a point where I got lost trying to find a fucking objective, and I was driving around in a desert for like 40 goddamn minutes.
yeah. I hope they fix that in this game. They were the biggest use of the like some of the missions. The waypoint will send you directly to where you have to go, and will put you right next to the person you have to interact with. And then some waypoints are just the vague area of where you have to go, and no definition of what you have to do or what you have to talk to within there. Good luck at finding it. And man, Borderlands 2 suffered from that a lot, and I hope that they have fixed that. That was one of the things that they said they fixed when they went back and did the remasters or whatever for the Handsome Jack collection a while year, the Game of the Year editions or whatever they did, whatever they handed out for free at PAX. That was one of the things they said they fixed about Borderlands 2 was like, okay, we made the quest definitions and the quest like lines a little bit easier to follow and a little bit easier to track to get to those locations. So yeah, I don't know. It's, I won't certainly be 100%ing the game. I don't know if I'll be going back and playing through it with multiple characters like I have in the past for Borderlands
pick?
game. So I'm the Beastmaster because I'll play as the hunter in any game you give me the access to do so. And I have a little cat, or well, I have a skag, I guess, which is like a dog thing.
It's like a dog lizard, right?
Yeah, kinda. I named it after my cat Lenny because he'll occasionally cough up ammo, like a fur ball, which I think is funny. And my cat throws up all the time, so I thought, oh, great. And like I've evolved my pet once. Now he will headbutt things and spit acid, which is fun. So
also similar to your cat.
Yes. And there's other pets I could have chosen too. There's like a flying one. I think there's like a little like I guess it's a spider, but it's got like 4 legs. It's one of the creatures in the game, whatever it's called. And then I also think you can have a pet that's like a tiny human person.
Okay. Is it a psycho?
No, and that's a whole thing in and of itself. Is like, they used to have, if you go back and play Borderlands 1 and 2, I don't know about what the whatever they did to them, remaster. I'm just going to call it a remaster. They got a lot of flack for calling people midgets in that game.
Yeah, that was an enemy type, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. And so to get out of that flack, they renamed them the Tinks in this game, which is like, let's say close enough to a maybe problematic word. And they knew, right? Like they knew. Like that was just them being haha dick and fart joke. Let's rename them to Tinks. And I feel like there's so many names you could have come up with, but the 12-year-olds jerking off in the bathroom came up with that one. So yeah, I don't know. It's I want to play it because I think looting and shooting together is fun. And I like to do those things with my friends in games. And it seems like none of them want to embark on the Destiny 2 Shadowbringer experience with me. So this is the next best thing I got.
Shadowbringer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shadowkeeper, whatever it's called.
Ryan raises a good question that I should have thought to ask myself now that I have somebody who's actually played this game. Can you disable the fucking head bob in Borderlands 3?
I haven't looked into said feature, and my PlayStation is on the other side of my computer. So
I asked Strom the same question, and he didn't know either. I think I might be the only person on the fucking planet that gets motion sick from Borderlands 2.
I've heard it before. I may have heard it from you before.
Probably. If you Google it, there are people complaining about it going all the way back to the launch of that game, and it continues to be an issue in Borderlands 2 to this day. It's like the only question about Borderlands 3 that I want to know the answer to.
Have you Googled it? I'm about to Google it.
I did at launch, and I could only find results for Borderlands 2, which leads me to believe it might not be a thing in Borderlands 3, or nobody's thought to Google it or ask about it.
Leave this call in a sec because my connection has been getting crappy again. I'm gonna restart my computer and I'll be right back in just a second. It's back in a second.
That's all right. We'll vamp. Don't worry about it.
Talk more Borderlands.
Yeah. Is the tiny human that you get as a pet Tiny Tina?
No, she's apparently in the game somewhere, but I've yet to meet her. I'm slowly now meeting all of the protagonists from Borderlands 2. And I met Zero first, and his dialogue sucks. He went from being the coolest character in Borderlands 2 to being annoying as all hell. It appears that there might be a slider for Head Bob on consoles and I would assume PC.
That's very interesting. And there you go, Ryan. Your question has been answered.
Yes, I will check on that to confirm it at some point. But I can't do it now because if I do it now, I will also have to restart my internet, much like Dally.
You guys suck.
Hey, well, you yell at Comcast, which owns every subsidiary of internet around me, other than the one that's like pay like $300 a month for 25 megabits a second.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm not about to do that. I'm not a business out here.
I mean, I pay like 140 for 100.
It's really frustrating because I have like gigabit Ethernet and internet service at my place of employment.
Oh, I bet that would suck. Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's great. And the other day I was like, I gotta download this like 300 gig file. Like I'm gonna be here all day. Finish so quick.
So you go to work and you get like a taste of the good shit. But you got to but you're working, so it's not like you can sit back and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can't. It's not. I have contemplated in the past, like taking like an external hard drive and downloading or uploading anything that I need to do at home, like at work. But like you only ever think about the stuff you need to download when you're home, and you're like, well, god damn it, I need to download that now.
You should do what I do. Except when I do it, it's because there's a power outage and my business still has power. You should go in after hours and use the internet.
Yeah, but there's at certain points of the evening I have to call a security team to let them know that I'm coming inside the building and, give them an approximation of when I'm leaving.
You don't just have a personal key and free run of the place?
Oh, I have a personal key. It'll get me in, but like I will trigger alarms. See, my office is in a stadium, so they like tend to care about like what goes on in that said stadium.
Yeah.
Now, the person that previously had my job circumvented that problem by just essentially living there throughout the work week because there's also things, since it's a stadium, there's also showers, so. The ability to just, use it as a living space helped. But that person was salaried and they kind of forced them to be there. And I am hourly and I refuse to do that.
Oh, so they definitely don't want you there if you're not.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I am dollar signs leaving a bank account if I'm sitting at that office when they don't want me there.
Well, that's pretty fucking funny. What's up, Dally?
Guys, I'm back in-ish.
Don't worry.
It looks like the network's not great here either.
2 weeks.
Thanks, guys. Why is my only turn the camera so you can see me? There you go. I might be having the camera on and off a little bit to kind of save the save network capability.
Are your family members also torrenting and streaming Netflix again?
They might be.
Yeah.
They might be. I'm sure there's plenty of shit going on.
Who in your family's torrenting out there? Is your daughter old enough to be starting to download the movies over the internet?
Oh, she's downloading movies. She's file sharing everywhere.
No, I guarantee. Like that's an our generation thing. Like the new hotness is like installing fucking Kodi and then grabbing like repository packs so you can fucking stream all that shit. You ain't gotta download nothing.
That's true. Shit on Kodi is like installed and you find those sites, those packs, I mean, you get everything.
See, back in my day, we used to download a Macromedia Shockwave player and then go on Kazaa and download as many funny videos as you could find.
It was like the spin-off of when people wanted to do like a hardcore Napster, when Napster was like kind of hitting its limit before it went legit.
Yeah, well, Napster, like, when I became tech savvy enough was like right when Napster, everybody was like, the legality of this is probably questionable.
And Napster was like, no, it's fine.
So of course no one wanted to use Napster because that one would get you caught.
They were watching Napster.
But yeah, Kazaa and LimeWire, if you remember that.
LimeWire, Kazaa, Asmodeus, Morpheus.
Yeah, I think it was, what was it? My first torrent thing I actually used, even though LimeWire was essentially torrents, was Azul, I think it was called. And it was like it was like a torrenter for Mac OS. And I remember like using that to download like full discography of bands. Because, I was back in the day when it's like you heard one song in the radio and like, that band's probably pretty good. Might as well just get everything and find out. I know. I had probably at some point, I had a 250 gig Dell DJ, I want to say, and that thing was full. And probably only about 30 gigs of that music was I even listening to. And the rest of it was just like full album downloads for bands. I was like, that one song was good.
My experience with doing that way was always, it was like, oh, here's a song. I guess I'll get the whole album because it's probably as good as this song I heard on the radio. And then you find out, oh, no, there's a reason why they picked this one song to play on the radio.
Yeah, it turns out singles are usually just the only thing worth listening to on most albums. Now, of course, that's wrong. But
I mean,
hey, in the early 2000s, it pretty much wasn't though.
Listen, if you wanted a comedy parody song that was credited to Weird Al, that wasn't actually a Weird Al song, but if you ask anybody anywhere whether or not Weird Al wrote this song, you had to go to Kazaa.
Yeah. Me and my brother were just talking about that while playing Borderlands the other night, actually. Yeah, we used to download all types of dumb, like, comedy skits and stuff like that. Like, there was one about, like, I think it was called, like, Sesameo Street or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just Big Bird and Kermit the Frog getting high. And talking about, like, yeah, the letter for today is joint. It's like all I remember from that. That shit was so dumb.
I remember that line. I used to fucking love that.
Oh man! All right, what else? I don't know how far we've gotten in this.
You were about 30 seconds late, dude. Like you were not late at all.
Oh, okay. So then, what have you been playing, Aaron?
Nothing. So I've been playing pretty much the same thing as I was playing last week, which was some more Oxygen Not Included. I played a bunch of Frostpunk. The thing that I haven't...
Frostpunk. Yeah.
What?
Frostpunk.
You don't know anything about Frostpunk? It's a city builder, except excuse me, I'm drinking soda. It's a city builder, except the conceit of the game is that it's like a nuclear winter type, or like an eternal winter type apocalypse. And your city starts, and it's this massive tower that's a generator, like a coal-burning generator that provides heat. Excuse me. And you have to like build around this generator in such a way that the heat from it provides like heat for your workplaces and houses, so everybody doesn't freeze to death. And then you gather resources. And upgrade your tech, and that expand the heat range of the generator to build out more, and try not to freeze to death, because every so often like massive fucking perma freezes, like blizzards come in, and the temperature drops to like -100, and all your workplaces freeze up, and you basically have to just ride it out and hope you've got enough supplies. It's okay. It's got like 4 or 5 scenarios in it, like different scenarios, and they're all pretty unique. And then it's got an endless mode with a bunch of different maps. It's one of those games where once you figure it out, like once you understand the trick of the game, you've pretty much beaten the game. But the thing that I have installed that I'm waiting to play because I bought into early access for this game in like 2013 or something like that, and it's finally coming to something in like 4 or 5 days. Is Cube World?
Oh my god, that thing is like years in the making, right?
Yep. I'm just gonna quickly go to my email here, and I'm gonna type in these 3 letters. Maybe. Yeah, I bought this game in July of 2013, and I think it was already. Like several years in development at that point. But and I played it back then, and it was fine. But apparently, it's happening. Like apparently, it's a thing. I just want to double check here.
Finally, a thing.
Yeah. So okay. So I guess I was in pretty early. Apparently, the initial release date was July 2nd, 2013, and I bought it July 13th, 2013. But yeah, I think it's coming out in like a week. Like officially, like it's on Steam and shit like that.
Did it change hands like development wise or
no?
No.
The whole thing was like the whole story behind it, if I understand the story correctly, is it's being developed by like one dude.
Okay.
And he had been or she, I'm not sure, but they had been kind of like releasing updates online, like here's where my game is at, blah 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 blah, and it wasn't playable, and people kept being like, we want to play it. And they said, okay, well, here's early access. You can all buy the game from me for early access with the understanding that I update it whenever the hell I want, and it's not going to be on a schedule, and blah, 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 blah. And everybody said, yay, and everybody bought it. And at one point they were like, I'm gonna try and update it more frequently, and did for a little bit, and then I think they went like 5 years without updating it. And everybody was like, well, that game's dead. And then all of a sudden, like 6 months ago, it was like, hey, here's a tiny little patch update. And then now it's coming out. So yeah, so I'm sitting on that. Yeah, but I haven't really been playing anything else. There's a lot. We're like you mentioned it at the top of the show. Like we're in the shit basically. Like
yeah.
There's so many games that I'm looking at going like, I should look at that. I should look at that. I've been looking at Overland because that came out today. That game, I haven't bought it yet. That game looks hella cool though. Like I really want to play that. That game just seems neat. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've been playing.
That game is that's on the Switch too, I think.
I think it's on everything. I think it's on everything, including like the Apple Arcade.
Overland?
Yeah.
Oh, Arcade. Yeah, the Apple Arcade launched today.
Yeah, you know, Tom was going to be here to talk about it, so I didn't include anything in the news roundup about it.
And it's it looks pretty cool actually. Wow. In game as I stared at it on the share.
But
I like that kind of 3D tilted aesthetic that it has going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strategy game. Anyways, what have I been playing?
What have you been playing?
What have I not been playing? I mentioned that I was playing an old game, which is correct. I hopped onto more games on the excuse me. Some of games holds up and will continue to hold up forever. I think era is it's my favorite gaming era. I think I'll continue to say it because as new things come out, you just kind of keep going back to that era, and everything from visual design to controls, everything just seems to kind of work. It seemed like that's when they finally sort of figured it out. It was right at that time period. And so I've been playing in anticipation of Link's Awakening coming out tonight at midnight. I've been playing, got back into Link to the Past again, which I played on the, so I played on the Super NES Classic. I think I played it on my 3DS, and then I had it. I think it was on the Wii and on the Wii U. I kept buying it over and over again, and then now it's included in the online service. I've been playing that, and that's just such a fantastic game. But yeah, it's so the nostalgia factor was kind of kicking in again, and I thought, I could really use, because I have a new house that I have to fill up with more shit, is one of these guys, the little Sega Genesis Mini. So I went and picked one of these up, and the Mega Drive Mini everywhere but the U.S. And it's kind of interesting in that there's way more detail in this thing than there is on the NES Mini and the Super NES Mini. They have fully functioning headphone sliders, which I don't think actually do anything. There's an on-off switch. There's a reset button that's clicked. There's a cartridge slot that can actually fit cartridges that you can buy mini cartridges and drop them in there. They don't work because the slot doesn't actually have like receptors for the cartridges, but I guess that's a thing now, is these little collectible cartridges that you can drop in there. They have that sort of Sega CD 32X monstrosity tower that you can buy and clip onto this if you're really interested in owning that. And then it has the slot at the bottom for the slot that the machine used for all those attachments and shit like that. And that can actually be open. There's nothing underneath there, but it's kind of funny. And it came with the controller, the Genesis controller, which is, looking back now,
3-button controller.
It's a 3-button Genesis controller. Very clicky. I don't know if you can hear it. It's not a good controller. It is like, there's as many buttons as there were on the NES. The A, B, C, start, and then just the directional pad. There's no left and right buttons on top. It feels very. It's actually nicely constructed, but it feels very plain. They could have gone with the 6-button one, but there really weren't that many games that took advantage of the 6-button controls. But there are 42 games on this bad boy. All the Sonics. You got Mickey Mouse Castle Illusion, which was really good. Echo the Dolphin. Space Harrier, the original Toe Jam and Earl. So
is Arrow the Acrobat on there?
I don't see Arrow the Acrobat on there.
That's too bad.
Contra Hardcore. Downloaded that the new Contra demo game, new Contra game on the Switch. Was it like, I forget the name of this, but it's supposed to be in that genre. But yeah, no Arrow the Acrobat. I'm not seeing it on there. You got the Road Rash though. We did Strider, Streets of Rage. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that thing because I think it's actually kind of a cool little addition to the mess that I have around the house. And I'll grab that TurboGrafx 16 because I never owned a Genesis and I never owned a TurboGrafx. It was up. It was like $80. Really digging it. PlayStation Classic was going for $19.99, down from that, like, was it like $99 or $90, something like that when it first launched, and now it's down to $20, and you can usually get it for if you have so limit for where I'd want to have leave it at that era, the 32, right before the PlayStation 4. I don't think we need an N64 Mini. So, retro things are the deep retro. The original Resident Evil for the Switch. I think it was released like a couple months ago. The original Resident Evil. So I'm gonna make my way through the Resident Evil series as best as I can. Next.
That seems like a tall order.
Well, Evil games. So let's just say the main line. So Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were announced for the Switch. They're coming out.
7's already on there, I
best
think.
games of
maybe
all time. For streaming but only in Japan. But I have 7 for the PS4. I've been playing that in VR. So, Atons, whatever that mess up one was. I've played the first one, loved it. So the second one. So yeah, I've been playing that, and of course a little bit of Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I want to kind of play through that, and then original Luigi's Mansion. Kind of like taste testing a bunch of games where I haven't like sat down for more than for any specific game over the last part of it is because just the moving process, and it might be the same way over the next week too, just not a whole lot of time, but like taste testing, so it's like half hour here, 20 minutes there, half hour there, 15 minutes. So and then the Kirby Clash game for the Switch, which is basically Kirby Dark Souls. It's a boss rush mode with Kirby characters, but free to play. That's it. That's all I've been playing. Is there any news this week? There's a few little bit of news.
I have.
You mentioned Apple Arcade, but then.
So I had a mention for the Apple Arcade.
Okay.
Which apparently it seems actually good.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. I mean, it doesn't have any games. I mean, Sayonara Wild Hearts looks really good. Obviously, we've played that before at conventions, but I guess
Overland, that game I mentioned, is on there.
Overland's on there. You're going to have Beneath a Steel Sky that's coming out pretty soon too, right? Sometime soon.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it because I have an Android phone.
It's not on Mac yet. I think it's only for mobile devices right now.
That's what I heard, and I heard they're doing a staggered release between iPhone and iPad. I'm not sure what the specifics are, and I read a comment somewhere that said that their exclusivity is specifically for like mobile devices, so that it doesn't preclude it coming out on PC or console in the future. Though there's nothing announced for that as far as I know. Mm-hmm. They're only saying that it means it won't be on Android, which, hooray.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I have 2 news stories, and they're actual news stories. Fuck it. Let's do this one first. So there was I've mentioned bits and pieces of this over the weeks and months on the show. There have been Valve's been getting sued a lot in the EU, and not just Valve, but Valve is the target that everybody goes for. And so this is sort of an update to that whole mess. A French court ruled against Valve, basically saying that 10 clauses of the Steam user agreement were invalid. And the whole thing is based on the notion that under EU law, any purchase a person makes, they have to be able to turn around and sell it if they so choose. It's like very core to the EU like trade. And so basically this court said that the phrase they used were dematerialized products, which basically means like digital purchases. They said that these products count as purchases. They're not leases and they're not subscriptions, and therefore a purchaser of such products needs to be able to turn around and sell them if they want to. And of course, as we all know, you can't do that. So Valve's going to appeal it. But
huge,
I have a feeling they'll lose on appeal. And yeah, it's kind of a big deal because, like, I remember a point in time where you could not refund a game. Like, you couldn't refund a game that you purchased online. Like, that just wasn't a thing. And we just accept that that's a thing now. And, depending on the platform, there's some quirks and issues you might come across, depending on the publisher or depending on the platform. But, I mean, it would be crazy if you could buy Borderlands 3 on the Epic Games Store, for example, and then turn around and like resell it as a used game. And they go a little bit in depth. They mention that the rule would only apply to like original copies of the game. So like you would only be able to resell a game once, and then I assume you would no longer have access to it because that's how it would work.
That's how they would be able to monitor that. You'd almost have to have games completely within those stores. Like you wouldn't have able to get a file like emailed to you. Here's my game.
Well, the way I pictured it, the way I sort of pictured it was like the Valve Marketplace, like with their trading cards. Like when you purchase a game, you would get like a physical item, like not a physical, a digital item in your Steam inventory that was like licensed for Borderlands 3. Let's stay with that. Mm-hmm. And then when it was time for you to turn around and sell that game, you could list that on like the marketplace. Because I don't think there's any guarantee as to monetary like recompensation. Mm-hmm. So if the market dictates that everybody's turning around and reselling this game, it's going to sell for nothing. But I mean, that's how she goes, right? Huh. I was thinking about something like that because it's a digital game. So what are you going to do? Like the only way to really do that is to give and revoke access depending on shit. And so it seems to me like the easiest way to do that, it seems to me as somebody who is not a coder or any kind of web developer, that if you just had like it tied to, I guess, like an item in your inventory and you could sell that item.
Kind of interesting is that actual game sales for a lot of the games on Steam, I think I was reading it today, that like the top like certain percent of games still only make like $15,000 to $20,000 on Steam, something crazy. A lot of games on Steam, you're not making a ton of money. So how would that get selling in there to any particular profits you might have?
They'll probably end up doing something, and I don't know if this meets the EU ethical standards or their trade standards now, is do something like, oh, okay, well, the price of games are going to go up by like $1. And when you buy something, we do, in fact, maybe even if it is just a physical card that's like, congrats, you own this game. Could they pull it off where it's like you're buying a bundle? You're buying the physical card for a price, and it comes with the digital download of this. Where that's not a guaranteed transferable thing, but there is some part of the sale that would physically be transferable to somebody else. I'm not sure if the having a physical product is something that they're arguing also. But even if it's a digital thing, like could they somehow swing it as in like you're not buying the game, you're buying this card that gives you access to the game? Because technically that's the only thing that physical products are doing, right? Like, I mean, it's not like they have the ability to rip away the code from the physical disc or cartridge that you put into your system, but at some point they could shut down the servers, which basically invalidates a purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to like 2 years from now, after the appeals process, and like 3 years from now or 5 years from now, when we just take for granted the fact that you could resell secondhand a digital purchase. Like, how cool would that be? How cool will that be if it goes that way? But
so we have in our Steam library you can finally get rid of. Play them.
Well, I mean, think about the problems that would cause for people like us. Like, I have almost 400. I think I have almost 400 games in my Steam library, but 2/3 of those, conservatively, are review copies. Like, their code that was provided to me, either personally or through SideQuesting, of those, most of them at the time of redemption were flagged as review builds. They stay in my library because that's the only way that works for the most part. I'm not sure it's legal to resell review copies. Like, I don't think it would have been legal for me to ever sell that physical copy of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or whatever that I reviewed forever ago. Because it was like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just turn around and sell shit like that, right? Like, you give it away, you give to fans, and then they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. But I don't think you can make money off that. I don't think that's how that shit works.
No.
So, if this were to become a thing, like, how would I, like, are those games just permanently in my library? Like, what happens if I try to sell those? Like, those are questions that I'm interested in.
It's not a slippery slope by any means, but it's just a weird...
It's just, like, weird. I mean, the thing I'm describing there is, like, an incredibly weird niche case because most people won't have those. You know what I mean? But, yeah. So, anyway, that's a thing. I caught wind of this story, like, way early this morning. I saw the article on the website Numerama, posted entirely in French with a translation provided on Reddit. And then several hours later, it seemed to get picked up by everybody, so you can find, like, a translated version on, like, Polygon. I think IGN has it. GameSpot, I think, has it. You know, all the big players have it. The other story that I have on here, I have written down as such. E3 2020 rebranding itself into a nightmare hellscape
is a big one.
A carnival of darkness that would make ICP take a step back and wonder to the depths of depravity achievable in this life.
Let's go through this step by step.
You want to go through it? So I have 2 bullet points for this story. The first one is a single
word. Futter over at Game Daily.
That's who I've got cited on this one. Futterish on Twitter, I do believe. I have 2 bullet points cited on this one. The first one is a single word, in quotations, and it's Q-tainment.
I've not heard that term
That
yet
was a word specifically used. The other bullet point I have is part of a quote taken from the plans, the investor plans, which was ... exclusive / appointment only activations for select attendees who will create buzz and FOMO. End quote.
See, I have a theory about that aspect of it. And maybe it's happened in the past E3s too, but do you remember the fervor, Deli, of the Cyberpunk demo at E3 that year? I think that statement is an attempt that they're going to try to create those types of things. Like things like, hey, you want to come see like Cyberpunk 2 first? We'll wait in this line for 3 hours to see a 15-minute video. And they want everybody to do that and do like the dumb like media influencer of like, whoa, we got here a day early and we're here to see the exclusive Cyberpunk demo, which you can only see here at E3.
If I leave this line, I lose my place, so I'm pissing in this jug.
That is what E3 turns into, where like the day one is just everybody filming their influencer content of E3 or the media hour, right? It's just that. And then everything else is like, hey, wait in line for 6 hours to play the new Sonic for 5 seconds.
So basically what we're talking about here, before we continue to rag on E3, which we are going to do, pitch decks got out from the ESA to investors that were basically like a presentation trying to rebrand E3 as a, quote, fan, media, and influencer festival for next year's event. And the examples that they likened what they want to turn it into, they likened it to the Los Angeles Lakers playing a basketball, they likened it to, where's the quote here? No, I lost it. They had like 2 examples of like things they were likening this festival atmosphere to, and I can't fucking find it, and I can't remember the names of them. But essentially, what it boils down to is they want to change the whole layout. They want to turn it into a big festival, and they basically just want it to be like this huge thing. And in the article on Game Daily, there's an embedded tweet from somebody else who pointed out that E3, regardless of doing this, just doesn't have the numbers to really do what they're planning on. They showed some comparisons. Gamescom in 2019 had something like 375,000 people. Tokyo Game Show had like 260,000. E3 2019 had 66,000. Like, it's not a big show, but
I think it was Daniel Ahmed from Partner. But yeah, it's well, yeah, last year, right? We didn't go this year. Last year, and I noticed right away how sort of weird it's been. Well, I don't want to say right away, but I've been noticing over the years, and we've kind of talked about it, how E3 is sort of like everyone's going to these streams, and there are ways to have the event. You can even do one like completely online. This is happening with every major expo and conference, right? Oh, that's pretty cool. What is that?
yeah, those are clothespins.
Yeah,
that I've stuck on my fingers. I'm listening.
A fade away. There's they're starting to disappear. There's a lot of these places like PAX and Comic-Con and stuff, which is maybe more fan centric. I mean, there's a PAX every weekend. It seems like
there's a PAX right now, isn't there?
There's a PAX coming up, like the PAX Unplugged, and then PAX or
yeah, I think it's unplugged. I'm pretty sure it's unplugged.
West just ended. Australia is October, and then Unplugged is November, and then you got South in like January and February for some weird dumb reason. But the doing a gaming conference as a fan-based event, I think it's there because it's being done right now, and everybody that goes to PAX, I love those types of events. Turn E3 into that different ball game. Off as a media, an investor, and retailer and buyer event. These companies would go, they would plan out the rest of their year for products and plan out the coverage for the next few months, and planning event, a showcase of stuff.
Can I read out one of these decks?
Sure.
Because it's making me throw up a little bit just reading it. I want to know how you guys feel about it. So here's the lead-in. It says, another aspect of the deck proposes leveraging social consciousness to promote E3. This is all from Mike Fetter's article over on Game Daily. In a series of slides called, quote, The Power of Social Good, the ESA suggests exploiting millennial and Generation Z propensity for giving back. Quote, by amplifying E3's social good brand, we can advance the industry's brand with consumers while storing positive chits for future use, the slide says. And then the slide itself says, research shows that millennials and Gen Z are among the most giving back / social good generations ever. What the fuck does that mean? Does it mean that we're all really super into donating to GoFundMes for people who need healthcare?
I guess so. We're all into Patreons.
Because we do that when people get really sick and can't afford to go to the doctor. But yeah, no, we're going to do it for E3 too.
They're looking to with saying anything positive about this, because looking to push thing from the consumers instead of it's some movement that they're trying to create with E3. The way that their buzz is natural. Buzz is very like ground people on the street. That's where buzz comes from. You hear hype, you hear buzz. Big weird, just hearsay and people talking and coming up. I mean that's how that groundswell starts. Forcing a ton of ideas into E3. And, I don't know. It's going away from at least being a gaming conference and becoming something else, a social experience. Now,
well, here's the part that kind of really grosses me out. one of the points that they specifically bring up in this whole section of their presentation deck is that they say this. They say, by amplifying E3's social good brand, we can advance the industry's brand with consumers while storing positive chits for future use. And then they have examples where it says, example given, policy goals, or next negative video game story. So are they saying that they can get people on board to like help them rally against like a bad video game review or like bad publicity or some shit like that? Like, what are they saying there? Are they saying like, oh yeah, bring your game to E3. We know you got a bit of a reputation, but we have the social good credit that we can get you some positive coverage? Like, what does that fucking mean?
That's kind of what that sounds like. Yeah, it's like, don't worry how bad your company's getting covered right now, coming out of E3.
But
I think E3 is going to live or die over the next 2 years. What happens this coming in 2020? The full direction for E3 going forward. It's going to end. We'll go back to being what it was before. And completely. I honestly think E3 needs to be in like March or April.
I think maybe we're at the point where we need to take E3 out behind the shed. Like
E3 needs to be March or April and be completely focused on retail. Do an online directs, the press conferences, than hands-on sessions. Hands-on sessions are cool. People watch those press conferences and those play sessions. Nintendo started that thing years ago with their people playing, and everybody does it now. Because why bother? You can watch games being played. There's a good chance that we're waiting 3 hours to get into play anything, and it's not that fun.
Do you think the person who put this presentation, like this pitch together, is just looking back at when the company that runs PAX tried to buy E3 like 5 years ago or whatever, and they're just kicking themselves?
Happened? They were trying to do that? Or?
Yeah, it was whatever the parent company's name is, whose name I can never remember. It was Play something. But anyway, yeah, they tried to run E3, and E3 was like, nah.
E3 has one thing that's kind of smart going for it, and that's the age show with panel discussions side of E3 proper. So for fans that into E3, you can go watch and listen to, your favorite, talk about video games, I guess, or whatever. But it reminds me of a PAX type of situation. There are panels, there are things you can learn. There's stuff for people to do, and maybe that's what E3 needs to be one-sided, in that to play the games from the publishers, and then they leave, and that's it. Then they'll go to a party, and that's it. It's the communication isn't just between the kid playing the game, the attendees. Like there's live card gaming sessions, there's all that kind of stuff towards this. Kind of what you got to do, I guess, right? I mean, you'd wear the other with what they're doing now. Them cutting out and just making it a business summit and making it a lot smaller. You don't need giant ass booths. Part of the problem I'm hearing right now is that these formats, the booth prices keep going up, and that's why you're seeing companies like Activision and PlayStation start to anymore, because why? The return is nothing. So going up, E3 could be a lot more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's it. That's all the news I had. I had two big stories. It was a really slow news week.
People are just getting ready for happen in the next few weeks here. This has been a lot slower this year. That
I'm okay with slow every now and again. We've had some years in this industry where it's like 5 things happen every day for the whole year, and it's just like fuck.
Awards are coming back. Are coming December 12th.
Yay, the Keeleys.
The Death Stranding wins everything award.
Oh, speaking of which, I did have one new story. I forgot. Death Stranding, Kojima, in an interview, said that he's probably going to have to make like 2 or 3 sequels.
All right, yeah.
Just getting that out there.
What's going on? Yeah, he doesn't know what's going on in the game.
He doesn't understand his own
feels
game.
like that feels like something you show up to Daddy Sony's door when you're delivering the like. Well, how'd it go, Kojima? It went pretty well. I've really enjoyed like 2 or 3 more games to really get what is Death Stranding.
I really like the idea that he thinks he's inventing a genre, and he thinks he's gonna have to make like 2 or 3 more games to really cement what the genre is. I'm like, motherfucker, you made a walking simulator. Like, I bet it's really good, and I like a lot of those games, but like, you did not invent a genre, my dude.
You're right. I do enthusiasm for E3. Ryan Gann heckling me in the comments.
Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off. That was one more news story. I had 3. 3's a good number.
Yeah,
of like games in the Death Stranding series.
But that's what they're doing with Final Fantasy. They were like, "Hey, we're remaking Final Fantasy," and then we were Mr. PlayStation. They showed up to the conference. They're like, "It's actually one of like we don't know how many games because we didn't plan it out well enough."
Yeah, the whole first game you only play to the end of the very first town.
By the way, I fell down the Final Fantasy VIII rabbit hole last week or two and just reading the wiki on the story. And
did you read the Squall is Dead theory?
Squall is Dead theory. Yep. The Zell is Dead theory. That he chokes on in the videos and dies.
Chokes on the hot dog? Yeah.
Kinds of dumb. That game, time loop. That game essentially. It's like Fantasy 1 for the
discerning gentleman. Chaos. Sorry, what?
And, fight chaos in Final Fantasy 1. And this is kind of the same thing, right? There's like weird time travel and not that much older than you, but it's the younger version of your dad. And
Final Fantasy 8, in Final Fantasy 8, a witch comes back in time to possess a witch who goes back in time to possess your girlfriend.
Yep.
Who is also a witch, but is a different witch being possessed by the witch who went back in time originally, and she throws an ice spike through you, and then you get on a spaceship, and the entire planet gets time locked, and you have to re-find your spaceship, and then you have to go fight the witch who came back in time. Totally simple. Oh, and also, all the characters you meet in Final Fantasy VIII are actually kids that you were in an orphanage with as a child, but you all forgot because you use summons, which erase your memories for some reason. Except one guy doesn't use summons and never has because he went to a different school, so he remembers everything but never told anybody. Final Fantasy VIII.
Is that Questus or is that?
That's literally that game. That is what that game is.
That's why it's like become a cult classic lately. It outsold Final Fantasy VII, I believe. Damn close in Japan, like very very close to power of Final Fantasy VII.
It was a very good game. It was a very good game.
Still the only Final Fantasy I have willingly completed.
Mm-hmm. I did not understand the magic system when I got that game as a birthday present or as a Christmas present. So I beat that game.
Drawing of magic. Yeah.
I beat that game for the first time, never knowing how to equip magic. I did the ridiculously stupid hard method of beating that game.
Do you your weekly pay game? Because I remember like you would get like a you get your pay like.
Yeah, your seed pay.
You don't really buy anything in that game. There's not a whole bunch of stuff that's worth buying.
If you get deep into the magic system, you can if you learn the magic or the item refine abilities, you can turn that into high level magic to equip. So that's what you would spend your money on. Or if you're me, you buy fuckloads of potions and tents, so you can just heal after every fight.
Yep. I like the whole card system where you can turn enemies into cards and then keep getting these higher level cards, and because Triple Triad was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII. I might buy it. up on it because it's just so fucking bonkers. I remember it being bonkers, and that's why I didn't like it back then. After reading that, I'm like, this is Evangelion. You can see that Evangelion influence right in there.
Your school is an airship. It lifts out of the ground, and you fly it around the planet.
Fights another airship.
You fly it into another airship, and then all the students start fighting each other with swords that are also guns.
It's pretty dope.
It's like Harry Potter before Harry Potter.
Then you get on a fucking like Segway jetpack and board their school. And,
See, now we're talking some interesting stuff.
There's a lot to that game. Remember the slug people?
The slug people. Good lord.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games I still gotta play again. That's it.
That's the whole show. That's all the news and all the show.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, by the way, Apple Arcade, it is free right now, so or free for a month, and there are a bunch of games on there, so I might just do it so I can fuck around with it, because there's a couple games on there. Which was the one? There's one that's like a fucking reading game, I guess. That it's kind of cool. It basically turns books that you're reading into games and like gamifies reading. So that's kind of interesting.
That's what I definitely need.
Yeah, more shit. Okay, that's it. That's all. I'm done. I'm peaced out. All right, thank you, Sam. Where can we find you, Sam? That's it. Thank you, Sam. Aaron,
wow.
Twitch affiliate.
That's true. I am a Twitch affiliate.
How can we find you?
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that, Sam?
You got that check mark next to your name?
Not on fucking Twitter, I don't. Twitter doesn't give a shit about me.
You don't have that anywhere.
You can find me Twitch, Twitter at Scratty Bones. Sipping Fireball.
I'm at Dolly Domofsky. That's as usual. You can find us at SideQuesting TV on a bunch of shit, and that's it. SideQuesting.com. Visit us at the website. Please vote and rate and vote. Please rate and comment and like and vote. Voting would be good too.
Ring that bell.
Next year. Ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell, everybody. We'll see you guys. Ring that bell.
We are on YouTube. You might as well fucking ring that